Happy Sunday. I hope it is lovely wherever in the world you are. And you know what? I would love to know where in the world you are. So please say hello and let me know where you're watching from on the comments below this. That would be amazing because I'd like to see how far the Jaden show is spreading. It'd be really great to hear from you. I had another fantabulous show in store for you today. I'm going all the way to the United States of America, to LA again. In fact, to meet singer-songwriter Stephen Lind. You're going to hear from him in a minute. But I think we should hear a little bit of his music. You definitely stay tuned to the show because the video we're leaving on is brilliant. This is Nosebleeds. This is Stephen Lind.
They say it's serious when you are furious. I say, oh my God. You are delirious, kind of unserious. I say, oh my God. Cause you love me less, and I loved you best. But in time we fell through. And I said, fuck the rest. You got up and left. I'll save a ticket for you. How do I look from the nosebleeds, baby? Do you get the chills whenever you see me? Proving that I'm everything that you can't be. How I look from the nosebleeds. How do I look from the nosebleeds, baby? Do you get the chills whenever you see me? Proving that I'm everything that you can't be. How I look from the nosebleeds. They say it's serious when you are furious. I say, oh my God. Oh my God. You are delirious, kind of unserious. I say, oh my God. Oh my God. Cause you love me less, and I loved you best. But in time we fell through. And I said, fuck the rest. You got up and left. I'll save a ticket for you. How do I look from the nosebleeds, baby? Do you get the chills whenever you see me? Proving that I'm everything that you can't be. How I look from the nosebleeds. How do I look from the nosebleeds, baby? Do you get the chills whenever you see me? Proving that I'm everything that you can't be. How I look from the nosebleeds. How do I look from the nosebleeds, baby? Do you get the chills whenever you see me? Proving that I'm everything that you can't be. How I look from the nosebleeds. How do I look from the nosebleeds, baby? Do you get the chills whenever you see me?
Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go and meet this week's very special guest, the amazing Stephen Lind, everybody. Stephen Lind, welcome to the Jaden show. How are you doing, mate?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm very well. You're looking very summer going into autumn with your colour scheme today.
You know,
I like it.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, no, I like color. I prefer color.
Okay, right. Absolutely. And orange, actually. I'm liking your beanie. In fact,
yeah, orange is like my car is orange. All my things are orange. I love
really?
orange. Yeah.
It's lucky. Well, actually, when I was a kid, orange was my least favorite color, but it was my grandmother's favorite color. I know, don't judge me. It was my grandmother's favorite color, right? So everything was orange. Now, boy, I can't get enough.
I know. It's really good. I loved it forever.
Maybe it's because I'm in the autumn of my life.
Correct.
It's just a bloody wonderful. No, I bloody love it now. It's one of
Just
my.
like bright and happy. Yeah, it's just.
It really is. Yeah, but I'm liking with the tie dye and all the colors. You're very, very Mexican sunshine today. But you're in LA, right?
I am in LA, but I grew up in Tucson. So.
Oh, okay. How long have you been in LA for?
8 years.
Okay, so you kind of maybe you've been out of Tucson long enough to not feel like quite that's home, but not in LA long enough to feel that's completely home. Is that right?
Well, I actually feel like LA is home for sure. Like it
Oh,
feels
sweet.
like that. But because I was technically like born here, was here, and then we moved and all of that. But no, it feels very comfortable here. And when I'm back in Tucson, it's very clear that I'm visiting. Like it is
Oh,
very,
really?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It doesn't feel, I'm not like, ooh, relief. I'm more so like, when I want to go
Like,
back.
when is my time up?
Yeah, because I love Tucson and it's great, but it is also kind of like it's not the most LGBTQ friendly area, so there's just not a lot to really do.
Right.
Um, but it's beautiful. It's great for like a couple days.
Yeah, but that's enough.
Yeah, then I'm done.
When did were you living in Tucson when you started your musical career, or is that kind of come a little bit
Uh,
later?
I mean, I guess the thing is, I think that most people who attempt or do music, not even attempt, but just kind of like find a way to like get that, make that their outlet. I think they kind of always like it in some form or another. So I've always been like wanting to do it, but no, I didn't actually start doing like recording and writing for real until I was out here. I was a web developer, and I still am, but a web developer and graphic designer.
Okay.
Uh, and I work with a lot of entertainment clients. So I was able to use all of those kind of like resources and whatnot to connect me to where I am now.
Wow,
So
that's pretty amazing, man.
yeah, no, it's
So
cool. I've worked with
you
cool
don't need
people.
to get a PR company. You are your own, right?
No, I mean, I still want one, but yeah, no, it's true. It does make it easier in the sense of advice. Like I'm able to, I know kind of like what to stay away from, what not to stay away from, what opportunities kind of reek of like, ooh, or what I like. I've had good. I work with, in a sense, like people who are successful in the industry, like real people, and that's given me the insight of what one does to kind of like do that, because a lot for indie musicians, and we all know this, especially gay ones, there's not a clear line, there's not like a clear path to follow, so you kind of just juggle and figure it out, and
Hope it works. Trial and
yeah,
error.
try a lot of stuff, and a lot of stuff actually hurts you and you don't realize it until
Yeah.
much later. You can get the bad, like they say, like all press is good press. It's like, no, you don't want to show up on certain websites. Like there's a lot to it. Like if it's very clear you're paying for your content, if there's a lot of things that I got like a heads up about that I probably would have fallen into, and some things that I didn't take their advice and have fallen into and had to be like, oh crap.
Mm.
So yeah, yeah.
Wow, man. So let's go back to Little Master Lind back into um
Yeah.
how were your family musically? Were you brought up on kind of, I mean, you're kind of doing pop dance kind of stuff at the moment, right?
Right. That is
Is that what
where
you were brought up on, or
well, so my family is actually was not supportive and was very like, don't do it. You're not good. You can't like, it was very much like, go do school, go to school. Like, don't, my family was very anti everything. But I did grow up listening to country music mostly. Those were the CDs my mom had. And I really still like I only like female country, no offense to the male country
no,
artists, but
get that.
female country is really quite lovely at times. And it's great. And so that's kind of what I grew up with and what kind of got me into even wanting to explore music, because I love to sing along. So
Okay.
that was my very first thing, is
Mhm.
singing along. And yeah, so they weren't necessarily supportive, but music was always around. There was a lot of time to occupy myself with growing up with my weird family situation. So it was always something to, if I needed something to do. Exactly, exactly.
Right.
So
I was a
yeah.
bit like that actually. I don't remember even liking male voices until I got into my late 20s to probably
I like them
30.
now. I can
I
like
do.
yeah, it
Yeah.
took me a while, but
I
growing up, I
didn't as a
was like,
kid at all.
no, no, not at all. I was not interested. I didn't actually want to hear what men had to say. I wasn't interested in their stories. But later I found out that I wasn't relating to men's stories because that wasn't what the female was more of an emotional kind of take that I related to, as opposed to like the lyrics of what men would
Yeah,
sing.
yeah.
And more so like even their vocals and their tones and their passions, I got more into what women were selling than men. Now I can like it all,
Appreciate
but
both. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. No, me too. And I wasn't brought up on country, but so it wasn't a kind of a style that I kind of naturally veered, a genre that I naturally kind of veered towards. But now I've actually even got a country ballads playlist on my Spotify that when I'm driving and I just
yeah,
want to chill and I don't want to do spiritual, just want
yeah,
to do something, you know, I've also got my chill playlist as well, which is everything from like Whitney to, you know, like all the Tony Braxton and my, you know, all my kind of R&B favorites and, you know, Olivia Newton-John and all these kind of people as well. But then
Right.
I've got this country ballads, and there's been some beautiful, I really like Lady Antebellum.
Yeah, I remember them from when I was in high school. I think they were really kind of popping off, and they had that one song that was just always on the radio. And I remember
I
really
Need
like,
You Now, right?
yeah, and a lot of people like lie. And I think if you say country music, I think you get kind of like the most adverse, disgusted reaction to than any other genre. If you say people are like country music, but there is some legitimately really, really great country
Yeah.
music. The genre and the faces of the genre might not be great. Like they go a little for lack of a better term, like hick town, like a little, it goes a little too redneck, it goes a little too
Right.
for mainstream. But then there are like Shania Twain's fantastic, Lori Morgan's fantastic, Reba. There's a lot of really, really fantastic female country artists
Yeah,
that
no, absolutely.
I'm here with. Yeah. So that's kind of what started my interest in music, was wanting to sing along with them.
Okay. And
Yeah.
so did, as you kind of got older, did your influences change, or was that always your kind of go-to?
No, as I got older, it kind of went into, I kind of got by top 40, like whatever girls were like Spice Girls, Britney Spears, then Ashley Simpson. And I kind of just like whatever was kind of being sold to me, that was something
I'm
that I
taking
could digest and package and be like, oh, great. I think gay men specifically, like there was that really funny like viral tweet that's like, at 13 years old, a gay man is assigned a woman to like defend for the rest of his life or whoever. And it's like, it's true. And so we find people, but I think the people we like and really devote ourselves to are people we see ourselves in, either like physically or career wise, or like, I can do that.
Yeah,
And so I realized like I would take bits and pieces of all of these girls and be like, that's why I like who I like, because it was either something like, I think I could do that, I think that looks like me, blah, blah, blah. So that's kind of how I digested music. Like, and like, so it changed throughout time as how I saw myself. And
so
like,
you've gone from being a listener.
uh-huh.
What happened and where was you when it kind of started tipping over to like, I don't care what you say, I actually really want to pursue this? How did that evolution take place?
I think there was a time I was like partaking in the devil's lettuce more than I should have, like the wacky tobacco. And there was an evening that I was with some friends, and we were talking, and I was just like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna write a song. And like I said it as a joke and I said it as a thing just to kind of like, but for some reason it's what actually kickstarted it. And the next day I just started writing. I downloaded Logic. I'm good with computers, obviously, so I was able to figure out the program.
Really? I've had Logic, mate, for 2 years and I can't even do anything. I'm gonna have to
I'm not like great. I'm no producer at all. I was able to
turn it on.
I made like 6 demos with their little loops and their this and that. And then I had a friend who I actually grew up with and went to high school with and stuff. And I think he's like a year younger than I was. And we knew of each other and we were like in similar like gym classes and stuff, but we were never like friends. But he's out in LA and he's a producer and he's wonderful. And so I had done graphic design work for his artists. So he knew to, because of our connection from school, graphic design, if he needed that for artists he was working with, he'd send them my way. I sent him my demos and was like, would you do a song with me? And he was like, these are the worst things I've ever heard. And
Really?
I was like, interesting. I hear you. I hear you. And then it ended up being like, yeah, but come into the studio and we'll do something. And so we ended up doing that. And and I've been doing it with him since. So I got lucky to know him. And then like, I had to spend like 2 months recording at home by myself before I got into a studio with a producer, got with a vocal coach. A lot of the stuff sounded extremely bad for a long time because when you first start to sing, you don't know what your voice is. You know how to mimic somebody else. You know what you think you want to sound like. And it takes about a year or so of actually just hearing yourself sound wrong to understand what your strength is.
Yeah.
So
sometimes longer than that. I don't think I've been singing 32 years. And I think it's only in the last kind of probably 10 to 15 when I changed genres that I kind of started to, and purely by accident, I was like, oh my God, like everyone said, Jaden, you're really bland. Like there's no emotion in your voice. And I was feeling the emotion, but I didn't know how to put it into it. And I think
Yeah.
like a sore throat or something. So I accidentally like growled into a song and it
Right.
sounded like more heartfelt. And they went, oh my God, the way you did that was like, I really felt it. I'm like, it's because I've got a sore throat. And they
It's
were
because
just,
it hurt.
I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. So I just like, because someone explained there are certain tricks you can use to kind of, not to bullshit your audience, but to make it more obvious the emotion within your voice. I was like, so I think it took over 20 years for me to find a voice.
I think, yeah, no, for sure. And I would say on my journey of that, I am still at year whatever this is. You know, I don't feel like I'm actually like I know I'm not done it or I haven't landed. I every time I do a new song or try a new vocal, every time it's getting better. And I believe in
So
like
you're always, I think
West
we do anyway, right?
Pardon?
I think we do anyway. I think we're constantly,
Yeah.
constantly like taking ideas and think, oh, I wonder if I could put that little improv on that end. That's going to sound nice. I've never done it before, but
Yeah.
do it.
And I like really fun music. So that's why I made my music, like even from country to everything is like upbeat. Everything is up tempo. It's like if I'm listening to sad music, there's something wrong and I need a minute and I'm not talking to you.
Or a therapist.
Yeah, correct. But for the most part, I'm an up-tempo guy. So for me, it was, yeah, it's just kind of like going in there, finding the inspirations of like what actually sounds good on an up-tempo. Because as a guy, my voice is naturally deeper, but like sometimes you need those. So it's just kind of it's a really fun process to actually get into the studio and pull the references from like everything you like, from like Azealia Banks to like Aqua to whoever's made music that they go like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
It's cool. So that's what I try and do is I try to make music I would listen to. And I think that that's how my audience will find itself in a way, you know, how I'll actually be able to cultivate a larger thing because there are other people like me. That's one of the questions I've gotten on like, you know how when you're a new artist, you get all of those like, so tell us what sets you apart from everyone else. Like that's my least favorite question because it's not real. It's more so like, what do you mean what makes me different? Like I'm a special girl. I'm not a regular girl. Like it's that kind of thing. And so I think, and especially for LGBTQ artists, I think the best thing we can do is be honest because when you're writing, and if that be honest doesn't mean you have a ballad and an acoustic guitar. Like being honest can be like
You're being authentic.
Yeah, it could be hyper pop techno. It can be anything, but like
Absolutely.
say what you feel and just whatever you're feeling in that moment, let it exist, get it out, and then let that song be that and move on. And like I think that that's what's going to set a lot of LGBTQ artists apart is not trying to create the success that they've seen in straight artists. Like that pathway. It's kind of like when gay marriage was legalized. It's like, wait, that's the straight, like, why do you want to be married? Like I get in the hospitals, I get that. Like I understand, but like that's not our path and it doesn't have to be, and we can make our own. And so I think that that's kind of what I try to, I'm very top level do when I'm in the studio is just be honest with myself and think about other people less.
Yeah.
Maybe the inspiration of the song or the muse, like who's ever pissing me off or making me whatever. But yeah.
I think that's advice for the LGBTQ and also for the heterosexual. I think about being your authentic self. You know, like I remember being in, I was singing classical and musical and I done pop, R&B, then I went into classical crossover opera because I like to sing that. It's because I didn't have to dance actually. So I liked it. Right. And I was getting older and more mature and I was kind of, finding different.
Yeah, it's fun.
I really, the Josh Groban kind of vibe, but tattoos and piercings and, t-shirt and jeans. So I was getting a lot of attention for that. And it was really interesting. I went to sing in this show where it was me and loads of people from the West End, like the musical kind of stars at the time. And I remember I was never really into musicals. It's never really been, I was always been pop R&B boy, but I appreciate the musicals. I just hadn't been to any at the time. And I didn't really know any songs from them apart from the songs that I sing and went, do you know that's from Les Mis? Or do you know that? I'm like, no, but thank you. Now I do. But I remember sitting in that audience, putting my head back and listening. and somebody sang like this, and they all sang the same, and you didn't know where one voice finished and the next voice started. I thought it was the same guy singing until I realized actually 4 boys later, all these different boys have been singing. I thought it was the same guy singing for the whole thing. And it was the same. I was watching this Filipino talent thing, some fucking phenomenal artist.
The most talented people on planet Earth, turns out.
That?
The most talented vocalists on planet Earth are all in the Philippines, it turns out. Like,
they were amazing. But you know what? I done the same with those. I closed my eyes and they all sounded like Whitney or Beyonce or Mariah. That was it.
Correct.
Like,
just and pitch perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Phenomenal singers.
Exactly.
But I've got, sorry, my dog's sneezing. Bless you, Carly. But I've got all of Whitney's albums and Mariah's albums, and so no one does it as good as those 3 for me. So so it was, everything started to sound the same. So I think just for everyone, it's about being completely your authentic self and not trying to replicate anybody else, right?
That already exists. Like a lot of my friends were on, and they're my friends now in a sense, but a lot of them were on American Idol. There was a moment that I was obsessed. There was a moment that like a lot of people I worked with were American Idol people, but I remember that a lot of their struggle post-show was like, the reason they were successful on the show is because they were the this or they were the that. Then they got like put out into reality, into real life. And it's like, wait, we already have that. And they do it really well. Like, we don't need another Pink. We don't need another Amy Winehouse. Like, they already exist and do it perfectly. Like, what do you do?
Yeah.
And it's it's very weird as an artist to be like into a vibe, have your inspirations and be told like, hey, you're not being like, there's no originality here. Yeah. I've had people tell me that about my songs, and it confuses me. It's like, what do you mean it's original? I made it. But like at the same time, it's like, excuse me. But at the same time, I get it. It's more so like, okay, cool. My references might have been too obvious, or maybe I just kind of like made a song that I liked that I forgot about. You know what I mean? Something like that. So it's the authenticity is important. And it's like, especially with the boys and the younger boys and all of those, like, the leading with sex is fun, but let's be real. Like, we all like to see like Britney Spears. If you think about all the sexy performers, we love their women. And it's because women own their sexuality, because they're the ones who essentially have it taken away from them and used against them. Yeah. So there's an ownership, a power, like, yeah, girl. So when the boys are putting on their chaps or doing anything like that, because sometimes it can feel like, okay, if I believed it, that would be fabulous, but you're giving me something I've seen before. So that's what I try and do within my music, because in my visuals is like, there are people like me who don't always get told they're good, great, special, all of those things, but they know it. So they don't need to hear it, but they know it on the inside. And like, I think that knowing your little niche and knowing kind of like who's going to actually appreciate your music is important. So yeah,
that's your secret recipe.
That's what I'm trying. It's not like I'm soaring. It's not like all of a sudden I'm like here, but you know what I mean? I'm doing well, and I'm doing way better than I was, and I'm having fun. And
that's the most important thing for me. It wasn't always, I'm completely lying. Before, it's because I wanted to be famous, because my vision of self, my esteem was so shattered that I needed someone to say, you're okay, Jay. You know, like that was kind of back in the day in the 90s, but now I'm older. I really don't give a shit. And it's actually been really quite freeing, because now, because you probably already know, and you will continue to find out that there is so much fucking disappointment within the industry. You can be celebrating the heads of agreement with champagne with the record company, and then the next day they found someone 2 months younger with a 6-pack. You've been dropped and they've been signed. You know, like, this is just the way it rolled. It really, I don't know if it does now, but it did back in the day. You know?
It's ruthless, yeah. And today is a different version of that. It's today's modernized digital version of that. Who's your follower? Who's this? Like, what's really interesting about today's star is you actually have to be a star before you can become a star. Yeah. It's like that. So like the whole Paris Hilton becoming famous for being famous, that original kind of like essentially doing nothing and yet being all over every that was new, and it created a whirlwind of like, I can do that. And I remember being inspired by it, like, oh, if she can, I can. Everybody wanted to do reality TV. Everybody, it became so accessible that it is now similarly so that like you can book a gig, a show, a this, a that, and then it's like, hey, we found somebody that has like 4,000, 400,000 more followers than you. Like it could be, and it's like they're going to sell more tickets than you. And it's like, to be honest, that's fair. If I was putting on the show, I'm going to drop me too. So
Yeah.
it's also understanding and not being like, there's a fine line of being like you're special and you're great, and also understanding that you're not. You're amongst this,
you're amongst the others that are as well. Yeah.
as well. And so if everybody's special, no one's special. So it's kind of like you have to understand that. I think it's almost like slow and steady wins the race. You might, the goal should never be, the goal should never be to be like Taylor Swift, should never be to be Troye Sivan, or it should never be to be a top 10 famous person. The goal should be to be able to sell shows, go on tour, and make music. You don't need to be on the talk shows. You don't need, but that is a lot of the things that, and especially gaming, that's what we're striving for. I think I still haven't disassociated the fact that I'm not famous. You spend so much time being like, I'm really famous. Like I said it as a joke for so many years because of the people I was working with, and like being 23 and being flown to LA to go to a premiere. I was like, I'm extremely famous. And like, eventually it just clicked that I felt it. And so I faked it until I'm faking it until I make it. I haven't had the break of the realization that like, you're not, but I know I'm not, but I also feel like I am. So it's a very,
I'm kind of the opposite. I never felt as if I was, even though I was at some point becoming famous.
Oh, really?
Yeah. In the 90s, I was signed to like a big label. As Britney was leaving the studio, I was going in, and as I was going out, Backstreet Boys were going in, and you know,
it's a harder time. You were on the cusp. You were on the last.
There was no social media, zero. So
you were like the last real celebrity generation.
Back in the day, but they just kind of missed it by a few seconds. But it was hardcore as well. Like they said something like 200 and I think the statistics were something like 220,000 people a year try to get a record deal, and less than 200 a year get one.
Correct.
And I had two, so obviously I was doing something right to start off with.
For sure. I get it too, and this isn't to like but like obviously like you can sing, there's a look, there's a vibe. A lot of what everything is like, can you be molded and sold? You can't expect people to be investing millions of dollars and not want their millions of dollars back. A lot of people confuse the music industry with like being about passion and music, and it's a business.
No, it's a bank. You're advanced, which was all the thing back in the day.
Correct.
It's an advance. It ain't a gift.
No, you have to pay them back.
What they think you're going to make for them.
Correct. And then when you make that for them, you still don't see it. So how's your advance going?
Exactly.
So it's in today's world, even with like there's the labels like I distribute through like a little indie label with my producer called People Pleaser. There's some AWOL connection in a way, but like AWOL itself, like their whole thing is like, we will give you money if you've already done all the work to make a fan base. And it's kind of like, okay, so you have to have 1 million monthly listeners. You have to have music videos. So it's like you have to have almost already had label funding and support in order to get seen, or you have to be incredibly savvy and smart and understand how to go viral, or accidentally do it. Just have dumb luck and happen to do it.
I'm still waiting for the dumb luck bit.
The thing about going viral, it's really funny. It's just kind of like, it's really the silliest thing in the world. It's like, what does it mean? But it's really funny how everybody wants to do it. And it's like, now it's like, obviously I too want to go viral, but also like, what does that mean? Like, then what? It's like, like I wake up the next morning, then
I'm really famous and being invited to speak with Oprah. No.
Exactly. It's like, maybe, but that's also like, that just seems so. I also think about like success and everything. Like, I love what I do right now. I love music a lot. Like, I would love for that to be my full-time thing, but I don't think I'd ever have one full-time thing. I still love, like, if I do like film posters. So if a really cool movie comes along and stuff like that, I'm going to want to do that poster. I'm still going to want to do that. I'm still going to want to get all these creative outlets out. And I think that music it's like having the multitude and having the ability to like go through and change. It just allows you to have the freedom to not rely on anybody for anything. I rely on myself for my funding. I want a music video. I know based on my last situation, I now know if I want to do that larger, I now know what I need.
Yeah.
There's a reality that sets in, and I don't want money given to me. I want to earn it and use it how I see fit and be my own boss. Like I could not imagine. I mean, I'm in my early 30s. I can't imagine a studio being like, you know who we need? Someone in their early 30s. Like I just don't see it being like, but I can also see myself finding my path, finding my route, doing my thing. And eventually everything I want, which can include film, which can include all of this stuff, will happen because I have put in the work and I'm doing it. Like I'm not growing. So I think dedication, the longevity, and all of those things are what really kind of make a whole package come together and allow.
I was watching this interview with one of Jay-Z's producers, and he said back in the day, like back in the 90s, it was different. A record deal was something completely different. You know, you've got your record deal, you've got your advance. The artist made shitloads of money from merchandising and touring. Now, the record labels want 50% of your merchandising, of your touring, of everything else, and there's no advance, and you know, blah blah blah. It's called 360 deals now. We didn't have them back in the 90s, but he said you're kind of better off really getting a bank loan and doing it all yourself.
Exactly.
It's no different. In fact, you're probably going to do better.
Correct. And like, yeah, exactly. You know what? And like, at least in America, worst comes to worst, like just file bankruptcy. No, I'm just kidding. But like there are outs, like there are but like there are ways and like things like that. So like it's not permanent. Nothing is permanent. Do your thing. But if you owe somebody money, like a company, things like that, you're kind of screwed. And if you have a contract, you owe them until you don't.
Absolutely.
Self-funding, just it sucks for sure. Like it takes a lot, and you realize
I've done everything on my own. I remember doing 12-hour shifts, then coming doing 8 hours just to try and get more bloody followers on YouTube back in the day. You know, like it was like a 21-hour day for months and months. And so I've been doing this, well, officially, I said professionally and semi-professionally over 32 years now. So, and even before then, I mean, I was in my 20s, and even before then, I was still doing demos and singing for DJs and, you know, this kind of stuff. So
doing work. Yeah,
but it's a bloody hard work. And then all of a sudden you become an overnight success, but you've been doing it for 35 years.
Exactly. And it's like, it's slow and steady wins the race. Like, and the thing is that can be just as satisfying as it happening in a week. That can be just, and I think a lot of the things too, and especially with how fast everything is, like even to how fast everything is. Songs now that exceed 3 minutes are looked down upon. Like every single
back then as well. It was the same back then as well. Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah. And I had them in the first 15 to 30 seconds of the song. Otherwise, the song's shit. If you haven't caught them in that first 15 to 30 seconds, drop it like it's hot.
And like even now with like the literal like every version of a song getting a TikTok version, and like just there's just you can just see kind of all the schemes, all of what's and so it does make it hard to like your goal can't be to be famous. It just can't. There's got to be to like you just got to want to do it and find an audience.
Completely. Mine now has been zero expectations, zero disappointments. I do it because I love it. I do it because even when I don't love it, I can't not do it because it's the only thing I've ever bloody known.
Correct. It's part of the journey. Not about everything is great, and that's another thing is people like will give up if something's not.
The journey is the destination. Actually.
Correct. So yeah, I think music's fun that way. It allows like, and that's why everybody gets where they want to go. Like Jake Shears, like he's not hugely famous, but he just dropped a record. He just got to do a lot of videos. He got to do a promo tour. He got to do all the things that a Britney Spears gets to do at his scale, at his level. And that's inspirational. And it's not even downplaying what he's doing, like at his level, it's huge. And so there's room for everybody and it can happen. It just like, don't try and be someone else, and don't pretend you're like, don't go for fame because it's not real.
No, go for the enjoyment, and then what will be, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
And I think that there were obviously, I was in a boy girl group back in the 90s called Beyond, and people were saying, you know, we had problems because we were too black, too white. And there was still in the 90s so much racism. So they said, if you bring another girl in, a white girl in, and she leads a group, you guys are sorted. But black and white, the equals, it's not going to work. Black people don't sell magazines. And I was thinking, tell that to Diana Ross and Luther, mate, and Janet Jackson, because they are selling magazines. But anyway, so it's quite interesting. So it was, you know, back in the day, it was more because of racism and stuff. But people said, but when we see you, like your four best mates, and you know, there was another signed group on before us that were signed to, that had shitloads of money plowed into their promotion and their publicity. They couldn't fail. The kids were ripping up their flyers during their set and throwing it back at them. We went on stage doing pop R&B with two beautiful black girls that could dance. Me and the other guy, we were like cheeky lads, skinny lads that, you know, a little bit like mouthy but sweet. And everyone loved us. Like they were queuing for our autographs at the end of the show, not the group that became hugely successful. And people said, the thing about you guys is you look like a group we just need to join, because you were doing your dancing, doing your singing, doing your harmonies, but you were having such fun with each other. We wanted to be part of that.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing. Enjoying what you do is the most attractive pulling ingredient of all of your work.
Exactly.
You know? So I bloody love that. I've lost you.
Exactly. Like, exactly. Because a lot of it's enjoy being. Oh, am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was saying it's hard to enjoy when you're fake, when you're not like, when you're kind of like living in a moment that's not real. I even felt some of that way during my Lovers Roulette video, which I love and is great in all of this. But I had people like, just people telling me like, I think this works. I think this looks like fashion. I think this. And I'm like, cool, great, do it. And then like, I look back at it and it took me a second to even like what I was seeing, because it didn't look like me, it looked like cosplay. And so that was one of my big lessons. While the video, I love it. I think it's great. I think it's cool. And I think it tells a really great story. I would have styled myself differently. I would have put on different things. I would have let myself be more comfortable.
Wow.
And what I tried to do was fit what other people thought would be sexy or cool or this or that. And, you know.
So next time it's your choice about how you, more so.
I will listen to the input, but I will also, if I put it on and I'm like, oh God, no, not doing it. Because the thing about me is I know I'm interesting to look at. I don't think I know I'm thin. I know all of those things. I know that I need to play into it and I need to actually like look comfortable and own it. And
work to your strengths, right?
Right, exactly. And instead of trying to hide from that, or instead of trying to like be somebody who might be like, I think the biggest thing is like, and even back to like relating to like the Ashley Simpsons, like I don't feel incredibly sexy, which is why I can love Britney Spears's music and hear my dance inspirations there, but I don't see myself in her. But I see myself in Ashley Simpson, someone who could be beautiful, gorgeous, sexy, all of those things, but because she was doing her, feeling herself, all of that. So that's kind of what I could see myself not doing that in some ways, but also, so I think every project you do and everything is a learning kind of curve, but I would also, the reason this is a thought for me is because it's what I want to do. I saw things that I was like, oh, that doesn't feel real. So if I'm not connecting to it fully, I know others aren't, but that's kind of how I felt about it. And you're also your worst critic.
Completely. It's quite interesting, actually. Like I shot a music video a couple of years ago. I'd written them and kind of worked on this reggaeton track, actually, which was quite interesting because I'd never done reggaeton before. And it was in Spanish and English. I'd kind of written the English bit, and my friend whose track it was had written that, is an amazing reggaeton artist, amazing artist. And it was quite interesting because the video was great. And all of a sudden, in that moment, I'm back to being 24-year-old Jaden having my video shot. So I'm doing everything. I was like, oh my God, it feels like 2 minutes since the last time I made a video, even though it was like 20 odd years. And then I watched the video and I'm like, why is my fucking father in that video? Just all of a sudden, I wasn't that blonde, skinny, male Brittany. I was like a 50-year-old man. And I'm just like,
Uh-huh.
When did my dad start doing pop videos? Like,
The realize having to look at yourself really for the first time is such a humbling
oh my
experience.
God, yeah. And
I think, yeah, like there are some people who I'm sure like that's perfect, and it's like good for you, but it's humbling to be like, that's my face, like that's my face. Oh God, okay, I'm sorry, but like yeah, it's very hard,
it's quite
and
interesting. I'm out, but I'm not out and proud. Like I'm proud of being Jaden, and Jaden's gay, and that's cool. Like I'm not kind of um like I wouldn't class myself. I am an LGBTQ artist, but I've been an artist before as LGBTQ. So I'm just Jaden, and Jaden happens to be a gay man. And I celebrate all that is Jaden, including the fact that I'm not the tallest boy, the fact that my partner is a guy, the fact that so there's it's quite an interesting thing. But it was really interesting, like back in the 90s, you weren't allowed to be out. Like no way. Like you get seen even in a compromising hug with some other guy, and it's all over. You've just lost all your 60,000 13-year-old girl fans.
exactly
So
100%.
it weren't to be, and then you lose your record deal the next morning. So it wasn't going to be done. And it was quite interesting. My friend was like, well, I've got this idea for this video, right? It's like reggaeton. He's a really handsome, tall black guy. His girlfriend is stunningly beautiful Russian girl. And he's like, right, in all these videos, it's always the black dude that gets the girl at the end of it, right? He goes, but I want to do this. Like, you're like a European, smartly suited, like business boy on your mobile phone, getting into your BMW or Mercedes, whatever it is. But at the end, you get the boy. And my testicles and my heart just became one. And I was like, I can't do that, man. He goes, what do you mean you can't? I'm like, I can't mix my sexuality with my music. I've never done, because it's not it will fuck all my chances of becoming successful. And he's like, why? And it was like really instilled in me, your sexuality is nothing to do with your music. And I got home, I thought, I'm 40 something years. I think I was 48 at the time. I'm 48 years old. I'm living in Mexico from London. What does it fucking matter if I kiss a guy in the music video? And I was like, right, yeah. So I said, I'll do it. Yeah, of course, it's not a problem. I just needed to kind of just to break down the years of trauma that was associated with being gay in the music industry. Although 80 to 90% of the people in the music industry were gay or bi anyway, which is so fucking bizarre. Yeah, but it was really interesting and it was really cool. And I remember one of the venues that we shot some of the video, we decided we would do a video screening at this place. Now, if someone asks me I'm gay, yeah, like it's not a problem if I, like it just doesn't. My mum doesn't tell me she's straight all the time. I don't have to tell people that I'm, it's just I would never lie about it because I don't have any. I don't actually even play importance. I mean, I've gone through the whole Stonewall stuff. I've gone the whole, all the bullies and the stoned in the high street. I've gone through all of that. The having to run when you come out of a club back in the 80s because you're going to get your head beaten to shit and So I've kind of done that. So it's quite interesting that I knew the video and I knew at 2 minutes 36 seconds there's a scene where this black guy is trying to convince this girl to go out with him. And as they pan past, I'm kissing this beautiful, straight, funnily enough, we had to pay him for the kiss. But this, I'm kissing this really stunningly handsome man in the Caribbean Sea. Man, do you know what? I've been out for, oh my God, 19, 29, 39, 49. So 31 years. And it felt like I was coming out. My hands were sweating. I couldn't swallow. And everyone there knew I was gay.
But for you, it was a moment because
this was a big fucking screen, and I know in 13 seconds' time, I'm going to be kissing a stunning looking guy in the Caribbean Sea. And I was like dreading it, but I thought, no, come on, Jaden, you're fine. The minute it happened, everyone went, whoa! And I was like, oh my God, I feel so accepted. But it was really, I had been accepted. I just had never been accepted musically.
And experienced it. Right. Exactly. Yeah. No, I mean, I get that. For me, with my video having some sexuality in it as well. I have a younger brother, half brother who's 17. And then I have nephews who are like 13 and 10. So I was also very kind of like, oh God, they're going to see that. And not that like I'm ashamed, like I'm definitely out and proud. In that way, like I also don't think I'm hiding anything. I don't think anybody's ever like sees me and like, oh, wonder about him. I think it's pretty pretty set in stone once you see me.
Same for myself.
And right, I do the talking myself, like my body does the talking. And so it's still nerve-wracking. It's very nerve-wracking to put yourself out there in that way and be kind of openly sexual, because even though you know your immediate family and this and that, they're all going to be cool. Like friends are going to be cool. Some people are going to be cool. There's still a huge population of people who are offended and want us dead and think we're scum and disgusting.
More in your country than most other places, to be fair.
You know, my country's a special one. My country's got some stuff going on. Yeah, my country's an absolute mess, and it's true. It's got the thing is we get distracted here in America. So to distract us from other things going on, foreign affairs, it's so easy to get us like America is the most self-obsessed group of people in the world. Like everything is about America. We're the star, we're the center, we're the world. And so it's so easy to distract us. So if you tell us like, hey, by the way, like start a fight with trans people, and now we're all fighting with trans people and LGBTQ and all of this, we're not worried about the foreign stuff going on. We're not worried about what the president's doing. We're not worried about what our government's doing, what deals are being made, what's being decided for us, how the taxes, like how the student loan is going. Like we're not worried about it because we're all fighting with each other. So it's been the same tactic forever. If we're all fighting, they can do what they do in the shadows.
Of course, yeah, good deflection, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And we
it's like a hand trick, isn't it? It's like what this hand doing as they're signing documents with this one. Yeah.
People take the bait, and it's very easy to spread misinformation. It's very, especially when all of our media corporations are essentially owned by one, and it's just kind of it's a dangerous time. It's a very dangerous time.
I think humans are we're kind of fucked on a certain level worldwide, and we kind of have. I think we're just more self-righteous in that. I mean, I was beaten to shit for being gay before I even knew I was gay.
Yeah,
so. It's kind of like and I'm sure someone would call me, oh, gay boy, even if I was holding a hand with it, if they didn't like me. Do you know what I mean? Like it would just people have always been looking at that which is different. And I think now we need to start looking at that which is the same. And we're one race, we're human, and we need to be, whether irrespective of your color, gender, age, ability, sexual orientation, we should be like bonding more now than ever,
Right, exactly. Like I can acknowledge all of the differences, cultural, religion, all of those things. Like you're not like all of us being humans and being deduced to a human is fair, and it's true, and it's also but to be a proper human, you need to be respected. You need to be seen for who you are. Every human's desire is to be seen at some point or another. Like that's the strongest desire. Like see me for me, how I see me.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so to respect somebody from whatever cultural, whatever like identity, all of those things is really hard for people because a lot of people don't feel respected in their own.
Of course,
so
absolutely.
You can't give respect if you're not getting respect, and then so it's this vicious cycle of well, no. And so it's just I don't know where. It's a very interesting time, and I think that especially like back to like music vibe and stuff. That's what artists are supposed to be doing. Like, hey, let's talk about these things. Like, let's do that. And of course, my music's not necessarily being like I'm not being any kind of like political activist, but there are people who can do that, who can be heard. And I think that that's the important, like reminding ourselves, like stop falling into these traps. Like, I don't know, just kind of acknowledge what's happening or be smarter and don't fall for everything that comes your way. Like just because somebody said you, like, it's like the schoolyard, somebody coming up to you and being like, so-and-so says I hate you. It's like, they might not have, who cares? Like, like, do you believe somebody or do you call it? Like, I don't know. It's all just crazy.
No, completely. And I think it's just about trying to be got my dog jumping around, trying to be the best possible version of you that you can be, with it open to making that better every day, right?
Yeah, it's easy. It's actually easy to take 5 seconds and acknowledge somebody for who they are.
Absolutely.
Their pronouns, their whatever. Like, it's dangerous to pretend we're all the same, but it's also like annoying to only focus that we're not all the same.
Yeah, completely. So, but let's go before we take over the White House, which I think will probably be better in
We're on our way.
Better in our hands than anyone else's, quite frankly. What's going on with Stephen Lynn musically at the moment? What are you doing now?
We're still recording our we're deciding if it's an EP or an album. So we're still recording the Pity Party project that I'm doing, which is essentially like kind of a it's not like it's not a groundbreaking title or anything like that, but it is essentially very much where I was at and where I'm at. It's like it's a pity party constantly. Like at times I'm like, yes, like I'm everything. Then there are other times where I'm like I get so frustrated and so angry. Like there have been things that have like literally brought me to tears out of frustration, and then like I like read back some of the lyrics or whatever I was feeling at that time. And I don't use those, but I use the reaction to those because it can either be funny or ridiculous or like it's just like it's so easy to be so self-obsessed and focus on such silly things that some of the songs are really kitschy in that way. Kind of that's the vibe of where I'm going, is trying to be self-aware and acknowledge that like my life right now is like a big pity party. Like I want what I want when I want it, but then I can also acknowledge the reality of it. So yeah.
And what's the future? What's in store? What are your aims for the future?
Honestly, I just want to keep doing. I want to perform more. We just did our first, like we've performed, but we just did our first like big show at Tucson Pride, and that was incredibly fun. So I've been working with my creative director to figure out what do these new shows look like, where would they be. So we're just really trying to take this off of just a digital landscape and bring it into real life and like do some fun stuff. So that's the goal. And another video. We're planning another video.
Sweet. Amazing. Well, we're going to watch your Lovers Roulette at the end of the show, actually.
Lovely.
So I'm quite excited by that.
So cool.
It's a great video. A great video.
Thank you.
So where can people, I mean, how can people find you?
Honestly, the best place is I'm the most active on Instagram. It's just the easiest one for me. So my handle is Stephen Lind. And then my website as a web developer is usually like I keep that pretty updated. So that is usually kind of like the best source for all of the kind of like if you do actually want to like find stuff, that would be where to go. But other than that on social medias, yeah, it would be the Instagram and yeah.
And I guess people at home, if you need a website developed,
listen, I'm busy, but we'll do it for the right price and the right person. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no.
Right. Stephen, thank you so much for being on my show. It's been an absolute wonderful to chat to you. I really do wish you so much luck with everything that you're doing. You don't need luck. You're doing it.
No.
Living the dream, darling. Don't worry about it.
This is very fun. I appreciate the opportunity and your time. Thank you so much.
Perfect. It's been perfect. So come back, talk to me again when the EP or the album's released.
Would love to.
Album's released. Let's catch up and let's have a little another chat because I want to keep up to date as well.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Stephen, thank you so much. You have a wonderful time. People at home, the minute this show is finished, get over to Google and find this young man all over. Instagram, TikTok, websites, Twitter, Facebook. I mean, everywhere, quite frankly. I mean, you can chat to him more on Insta, but the boy, he rocks on quite a few social media platforms. And you can also find his music as well on Spotify, Apple, and all major download and streaming platforms. So while you're on the computer watching this show, you might as well just pop along and just start having a little bit of a shimmy and see what you can find about Mr. Stephen Lind. That would be wonderful. Stephen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll catch up again soon. Thank you so much, mate. Take good care of yourself.
You do the same. Thank you. Bye.
Good night, man. Bye-bye. Absolutely wonderful. Stephen, thank you so much for being part of my show. You crazy kids at home, go and check him out on all of his social media platforms. You would have seen a list of where you can find him running underneath the video through the whole of the interview. And if you missed that and you don't really want to, I'll say rewind, but you don't want to go back and check it out, where the credits are on the write up of this video, you'll find all the links there. You can copy and paste, put into your toolbar and go and find that boy. Go and check him out. Go and like, go and share, go and support, go and follow. Do your thing, Jaden Show viewers. That would be wonderful. While you're at it, you can check me out as well on my social media platforms. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for spending a bit of time this Sunday with me. I hope you've had a lovely Jaden Show. I'm going to be back next week with another wonderful guest, another wonderful Jaden Show. So I hope you have already subscribed to my channel and hit that tinkly bell so you know exactly when the next Jaden Show is going to be out. In the meantime, you take very good care of yourself. Have a wonderful week. And I will see you next week. Now, before I go, I'm going to show you the video as promised called Lovers Roulette. This is Steve and Lind. Enjoy, take care, stay beautiful. Bye-bye.
Watch the darkness seep out of me. Watch me crawl into the night. I'm orphan to your fantasy. Give you a taste of this life. I've got my demons. Would you like to meet them? They've got a hold of me. They've really changed me. It's nice to see ya. Looking good and healthy. Give me some time with ya. Love me like Panama. Rise, roulette. Questioning my sanity. Rise, roulette. I don't know what's come over me. Rise, roulette. Questioning my sanity. Rise, roulette. You could really be anybody. Rise, roulette. Questioning my sanity. Rise, roulette. I don't know what's come over me. Rise, roulette. Questioning my sanity. Rise, roulette. You could really be anybody. Distract me from my destruction. Guide me farther from the light. You morph into my fantasy. Show me the truth with your eyes. I've got my demons. Would you like to meet them? They've got a hold of me. They've really changed me. It's nice to see ya. Looking good and healthy. Give me some time with ya. Love me like Panama. Rise, roulette. Questioning my sanity. Rise, roulette. I don't know what's come over me. Rise, roulette. Questioning my sanity. Rise, roulette. You could really be anybody. Rise, roulette. Questioning my sanity. Rise, roulette. I don't know what's come over me. Rise, roulette. Questioning my sanity. Rise, roulette. You could really be anybody. Watch the, 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 watch the. Rise, roulette. Questioning my sanity. Rise, roulette. I don't know what's come over me. Rise, roulette. Questioning my sanity. Rise, roulette. You could really be anybody. Rise, roulette. Questioning my sanity. Rise, roulette. I don't know what's come over me. Rise, roulette. Questioning my sanity. Rise, roulette. You could really be anybody. Rise, roulette. Watch the, watch the, rise, roulette. Watch the, watch the, rise, roulette. Watch the, watch the, rise, roulette. Float away from here, and here we are today, waiting to get away. Lonely nights on my own again. Why can't you make the room for me now? Getting high to pass the time alone, alone, you get